Hello, this is our ME354 project. We're doing our project over a torque wrench, and our project is by Ty, Colton, and Alex. So going into the background of a deflecting torque wrench, it uses the deflection of a metal bar to determine the torque applied to a bolt usually. This is commonly used in automotive applications, for example lug nuts, on a day-to-day use, ensuring that these bolts are properly tightened to maintain safety. As the bar bends with applied force, the beam deflects and points at a value, indicating the torque being applied at the end of the torque wrench. The first picture on the left shows the torque wrench we used during the testing, and an example of a torque wrench in use with a measured value is in the middle. This is an example of a deflecting torque wrench, which is different than a click-type torque wrench that you may be familiar with, as shown on the bottom right. As these torque wrenches rely on a completely different mechanism altogether, we will just be focusing on a deflecting torque wrench for this analysis.
The deflection of a bar is defined as shown on the top right, where F is the force applied to the end of the wrench, L is the length from where the force is applied, E is the modulus elasticity of the material of the bar, which is steel, and I is the moment of inertia of the beam. We can verify the accuracy of a torque wrench by analyzing how far the red indicator changes and how much torque is indicated at that position. If the Y max value found is consistent with the distance the beam deflected, we can verify the accuracy of the wrench.
And this is our trial one, where our torque wrench reading was 20 foot-pounds. The measured deflection was 0.197 inches, and our calculated deflection was 0.2368. And you can see the code that we used for that. And then our second trial, we just went up by another 20 foot-pounds, and our calculated deflection was 0.4736, and our measured was 0.394. Again, the code is shown. And for the third trial, again, we just went up and we just went up 20 foot-pounds, and our calculated Y is 0.7105, and our measured Y is 0.591 inches. And trial 4, again, I just went up by another 20 foot-pounds. Our calculated deflection is 0.9473 inches, and our measured deflection is 0.787 inches.
So to conclude, the overall error from the measurements was about 20%. We think this is relatively accurate because the torque wrench already has some small deviation from zero when there's no force on it, and there's also another limiting factor could be a measurement error with our measured values compared to the calculation. So all in all, we think that torque wrench works as expected.